Hello. Earlier we saw that it was almost impossible to read fast. So what's the solution, I said? Yes, the solution was to read less. I also promised to teach you an approach to read less and extract the necessary information from a reading comprehension passage. So here goes. Our helper here is Rosie. Here's the thing about Rosie. She loves opinions and doesn't care much for the facts. So we can use Rosie and start by telling facts from opinions in a reading comprehension passage. This is what we require, as the primary understanding of the passage is dependent on understanding the opinions of the author. So if you haven't already guessed, Rosie stands for read opinions, skip information. And here's how we apply Rosie. The first step is to read the first sentence of a new paragraph, as it will tell you what the passage is about. So don't skip it. After you've read the first line, take a step back and think about what the paragraph is going to tell you. Once you have a basic idea of what the first paragraph will be about, apply Rosie to the subsequent lines in the paragraph and stop when you've reached the end of the paragraph. What that means is that you have to mark each line as either fact or opinion. You don't have to read the entire sentence. You'll usually be able to figure this out by reading the first few words of a sentence. Keep reading all the opinions and ignoring all the facts until you reach the end of the paragraph. Then, create a heading for that paragraph using the words from the same paragraph. Make sure that the heading does not exceed 5 words. And that's it. These are the 4 steps that we need to follow in order to read passages with Rosie's help. So should we apply it to a paragraph and see how it works? As mentioned, we can't skip the first line of any paragraph, so we'll have to read it. Anthropologists who study orangutans, distant cousins of the human race, find in the animal's behavior hints of how our earliest ancestors may have lived. Now let's take a step back and figure out what this passage will be about. It appears to be a study on orangutans. Let's look at the second line. It has long been accepted. Okay, let's stop there. The phrase, it has long been accepted, clearly indicates that the line is going to be about some fact or information that has been accepted for a long time. So we'll skip this line. The next line, while to a certain extent. Let's stop here. Again, this phrase, while to a certain extent, indicates that we're about to read a fact that has been researched or analyzed by someone, which is why it is accepted to a certain extent. So we'll skip this line too. Next line, adult orangutans can grow. Again, this line is a piece of information about how the adult orangutans can grow. So we'll skip it. Then we have thus. Okay, so generally we use thus to conclude or give an opinion on something, and that is why we'll read this sentence completely. Thus, they become very jealous of the territory where they find their food. Now the last line, compounding this territoriality, is the breeding habits. Okay, so this line indicates that we're discussing the breeding habits of orangutans, which contribute to their territoriality. Again, it's information, so we'll skip it. Now that we've finished reading one paragraph and made note of the opinions, the next step asks us to give this paragraph a heading. But the catch is that the heading must come from the paragraph itself. So if it were me, I would call it Study of Orangutans' Behavior. Now shall we look at the second paragraph and apply Rosie to it? Remember that we must always read the first line of the paragraph. Consequently, orangutans are solitary territorial animals who have difficulty foraging in any part of the forest where they were not raised. Let's figure out what this passage will be about. The first line is talking about the territorial and solitary behavior of orangutans, right? Let's look at the second line. Orangutans taken from poachers by. Let's stop. The phrase orangutans taken from poachers indicates that the line is a fact. So we can skip this line. The next line, incorrectly relocating a male orangutan is especially problematic. Let's stop there. Again, this phrase, incorrectly relocating a male orangutan is especially problematic, indicates that the line is stating that relocating the orangutan is problematic. We've understood that, so let's skip the remaining portion. Next line, while humans like chimpanzees are more gregarious. Looks like this line is going to compare human behavior to that of orangutans. So we can skip this too. So the only important line here was the first line. So let's make a heading for it. We could call it Territorial Behavior of Orangutans. That pretty much sums it up. That's how you apply Rosie to quickly and effectively read a passage. I hope you enjoyed this technique. Stay tuned for more.